Make it a full screen, ma'am. Is it possible?
No, only this much
Okay,
because
shall we start, ma'am?
yeah, start.
Okay. So, hello and a very good morning to everyone assembled online for the seminar. It gives me immense pleasure to extend to you a very warm welcome on behalf of the entire organizing team for the national level popular lecture series in fascinating areas of physics. We are honored to have Dr. Manisha Khayadkar, ma'am, as our guest, and we are extremely happy to welcome all the participants. Now, I would like to invite Dr. L.D. Zadav, ma'am, Head of Department of Physics, Rajaram College, Kolhapur, to formally welcome you all and to introduce the entire series of popular lectures.
Thank you, Sumant. Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries, today's speaker, Dr. Manisha Khaladkar, Associate Professor, COEP, President of this program, Dr. A.S. Khemnar, Principal of our college, Dr. K.K. Patankar, Coordinator, Astrophysics and Space Science, fellow colleagues, academicians, and dear student friends. I feel honored to take this opportunity on behalf of Physics Department, Rajaram College, Kolhapur, and Astromitra, our alumni club, to welcome you all to a national seminar on popular lecture series in fascinating areas of physics. Rajaram College was established in 1880 and it's one of the historical and esteemed colleges in India and is providing quality education with a vision, quality education for personality for nationality. The physics department is one of the leading departments of our college. The department has always been on the forefront in organizing different kinds of extracurricular activities for the students because we believe in addition to traditional teaching, the students must be trained to improve their confidence, leadership skills, and social skills. They must be exposed to different areas of the physics, its interdisciplinary nature, and career opportunities in it so as to make them globally competitive. So after completing their graduation, they would be able to work in team, think critically and independently, choose right education either in physics or allied subjects, and grab the career. With this aim, we have invited three speakers working in different fields for this seminar. This morning, Dr. Manisha Khaladkar will share her experiences of working in team. On day 2, that is tomorrow, Dr. V.N. Sinde, Deputy Registrar of Shivaji University, will open up some fascinating career opportunities to physics students. On day 3, on Monday, that is 14 June 2021, Dr. Mahesh Shinde, a senior leader or assistant manager, Willis Towers Watson, Mumbai, will talk on interdisciplinary subject that is climate modeling and career opportunities in that particular field. So I'm sure you will be introduced to the fascinating world of the physics and fascinating career opportunities too. With this brief background, I welcome you all once again to this seminar. And before I conclude, I must thank all the speakers for accepting our invitation despite their busy schedules. And I wish you all have an engaging and enriching sessions ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the earned welcome address and introduction of the popular lecture series. Now, I would like to introduce the chairperson of today's session, Dr. K.K. Pathankar, ma'am. Dr. K.K. Pathankar, madam, has completed her MSc in Physics from Karnataka University, Dharwad, PGDCS, that is Postgraduate Diploma in Computer Science from Central University, Hyderabad, and PhD from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, availing DST and CSIR fellowships. After completing her postdoctoral work, she joined Rajaram College as MPSC recruited assistant professor in physics in the year 2007. She is serving in this physics department for last 17 years. Three students are working for their PhD under her able guidance. She has published a book on nanoferrites and also has several science poems to her credit. She also has 50 research papers published in leading international peer-reviewed journals. Her research areas of interest are magnetic materials, multiferroics, and memoristors. She has successfully completed two major research projects. Currently, she is Professor of Physics and Coordinator of Astrophysics and Space Science course run by Department of Physics, Rajaram College, Kolhapur. So, I request Dr. K.K. Pathankar ma'am to chair this session.
Thanks, Suman. A very good morning to all of you. Today's lecture is all about an interesting and a popular story of students of College of Engineering, Pune. The student had a vision to build their own satellite, an indigenous picosatellite, which they rightly called as SWAYAM. SWAYAM is a picosatellite, also known as CubeSat. Students could successfully complete the assembly of a flight model having a size of 1 U. 1 U means rack unit, which measures 4.54 centimeters and weight of 990 gram. It was designed under the guidance of ISRO. Payload of the satellite is point-to-point packet communication with which the user can send and receive messages from one point to another point on the Earth. In fact, the project was initiated by the student batch of 2009. It lasted for nearly 8 years until it was successfully launched on 22nd June 2016 by PSLV at Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. It was students' brain idea to come up with an unique picosatellite, which required contributors from different departments and involvement from freshers to seniors to work consistently, toiling day and night till the satellite becomes functional for successful launch. To add wings to the creativity, the role of mentor is equally important. The mentor plays a key role in coordination of the activities for a successful completion of the task. It is rightly said, science is a driving force for technology. So a mentor from applied science had to give an impetus to the budding technologists for their team efforts. This speaker is our today's invited speaker, Dr. Manisha Khaladkar ma'am. As in her name, Manisha means my wish or my desire for innovation. Her commitment to achieve the desired goal can be noticed as I start introducing her. So Dr. Manisha Khaladkar ma'am is an associate professor in chemistry. She worked as a head of the applied science department from 1999 to 2018. She has a fast teaching experience of 23 years and research experience of 28 years. She has completed her post-graduation in analytical chemistry from University of Pune, securing a distinction. She has completed her PhD from the same university. She was the faculty coordinator for the entire period of student satellite project, BTech coordinator, and also astronomical club coordinator. She received Teacher Innovator Award from Center Entrepreneur Development Agency and is also the recipient of Gandhian Young Technological Innovation Award for Mentor Frugal Innovation Swayam. She is recognized research guide of Pune University. 4 students have completed their PhD under her guidance and 2 are presently working for their PhD. She has delivered many popular talks, organized conferences, chaired many technical sessions, presented research papers. She has published 33 research papers in peer-reviewed journals of high impact factor and also has 2 patents to her credit. Worth mentioning here is she could successfully complete 5 research projects funded by ISRO cell of University of Pune and also completed a DRDO research project. Till date, she has received research funding of 80 lakhs from central funding agencies and 50 lakhs from Maharashtra state government for her research work. Despite her hectic schedule, She is involved in many extension activities and is a working secretary for Sharda Shakti, as it is a non-government firm working for popularizing science and technology among women and children. For her incredible contribution in the field of science and technology, she has received Sant Ishwar Seva Sanman in the category of Human Youth in November 2019. We are all fortunate enough to have her with us today for delivering her invited talk. I know you all are very much eager to hear her. So I now request Dr. Khaladkar Madam to present the success story, handing over the e-platform to Madam for her presentation. Hello, ma'am.
आम्ही स्क्रीन शेअर करते.
Yes.
Do you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. We can see it.
A very good morning to all of you. Thank you so much, all the organizers, for giving me opportunity to present before you success story of Swayam. So let's begin. This is College of Engineering, Pune. It is the first engineering college of the entire Western India. And entire Western India means from Afghanistan to Kerala, the entire patch. It is 165 years old college, and the building which you see before you is also 165 years old. It has been built in 1854. What you see before you are two identical models of Pico satellite Swayam, which flew into space on 22nd June 2016. Right one is called as engineering model, which is exactly identical to the left one, barring there are no solar cells attached. The left one is the actual flight model picture, which you can see on your screen left side. The dimensions of Swayam were 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter by 11.35. And in this picture, you will see it is a flyer released on 22nd June 2016 by ISRO for the launch of PSLV C-34. And here you can see Swayam, College of Engineering, Pune, mass 1 kilogram to provide point-to-point messaging service to ham radio community. So this is the actual payload. We'll begin with the story now. These three students, the left one, Abhishek Bhaviskar, was the head of Astronomy Club of COEP. We have about 35 different technical and cultural clubs at COEP. Astronomy Club is one of them. He was approached by IIT Bombay students and they asked whether COEP can act as ground station facility provider. Abhishek had good friends at IIT Bombay, and that time IIT Bombay students were at least 4 years ahead of us, in the sense that they were 4 years into building their satellite Pratham. We got into talking that there's no problem in providing them the ground station services, but we do not have a functional ground station as yet. So we will have to build a ground station for that. Abhishek is a student of civil engineering. He was talking about a communication satellite, which falls in the domain of electronics and telecommunication branch. The middle one, which you see, is Mohit Karve. He is a production engineering student. And the right one, Nishchay Mhatre, he was an IT student. When all this came up, Abhishek was just in second year of engineering, and Mohit and Nishchay were in first year. But the idea was so novel, so nice, that I said, I'm ready to guide you. Let's start thinking about the project. Over 2009 till 2016-17, every year we had a project manager, and you can see that all these students have worked for satellite, and they have worked at different stages. So you can see that building a satellite was like a jigsaw puzzle where different pieces came from different branch students, and there was a system integrator who finally took all the pieces, matched them, and the satellite was fabricated. How did it begin? Whenever you are working for any interdisciplinary work, a long-term project which will be handled by many students over a long period, what you require is first to define your goals. So these were the goals for SWAYAM: interdisciplinary knowledge building, maintaining continuity in long-term project, provide a platform for future student satellite missions, and institutionalize the culture of student-faculty cooperation for complex projects. As college students and college faculty, you all know that teacher-student relationship is very crucial, critical, and nowadays we are all working from home, our respective homes. And in this situation, you do not get to see your teachers or your students. And that really makes a very uncomfortable situation. But if the bonding between teachers and student is good enough, then we can overcome all such problems together and move on, and encourage students' involvement in Indian space program. So with this mission, we started working. When you fix your goals, next thing is you have to fix your objectives. So for this SWAYAM satellite, the objectives were: scientific importance of the satellite was to demonstrate passive attitude control. I'll come to passive attitude control a little while later. In India, SWAYAM is the first satellite made by students to demonstrate passive attitude control. And ISRO was so happy with success of this passive attitude control that they have decided that up to 1 ton satellite, they can use passive attitude control, which is much cheaper and reduces weight of the satellite to a large extent. Utility of the satellite is messaging service in ham band. Ham community is amateur radio users community, and for them AIRU provides the frequency for communication. Pico satellite is a satellite which has weight less than 1 kilogram. If you have exactly 1 kilogram as weight, we call it as nanosatellite. So anything lesser than 1 kg, 990 grams, became the first pico satellite. And the dimensions for 1U satellite, as Ketki madam already introduced, are 100 mm by 100 mm by 11.35 centimeter or 113.5 mm. See how crucial it is to confine the entire subsystem components to fit in these particular dimensions, 100 mm by 100 mm by 113.5, and the total weight should not go beyond 1 kg. The power available to run all functions on the satellite was just 2 watt. So all the students were really struggling against very high, large number of constraints. What is the scientific importance of this? To demonstrate passive attitude control, to provide a communication platform in ham band, and to characterize the ham band for low Earth orbit satellites, LEO satellites. With this, whenever you are beginning a really tall task, which is going to spread over a long time span, what is required is usual structure of your team, and this is our formal team structure. Wherever faculties is written, there is admin or faculty coordinator. Every year we have system engineers or admin in charge or project manager, as he or she is called. Then the tall task of building a satellite is divided into 5 to 6 subsystems: structural and thermal subsystem. Deals with thermal control, insulation, maintaining the temperature, and providing physical support to the all parts inside. Power subsystem has 3 main functions: generate power, store power, and disseminate or distribute power to all subsystems of the satellite. RF and ground station are 2 important parts of communication subsystem. In this particular satellite mission, communication was payload as well. So we require a ground station for communicating with the satellite, and we require RF system to give and take signals through antennas which are situated at the ground station. Decoding and all the signals also is handled through communication subsystem. OC is on-board computer. A satellite is an autonomous body. Once it is launched into space, we do not have any control. We cannot command anything from ground. It is the on-board computer which controls all the functions, the power, starting of the satellite, and switching off or even killing the satellite. So all these crucial functions are served through onboard computer. Passive attitude control. Now here's where orbital dynamics and ACS comes into picture. For favorable communication with Earth, with ground stations, most of the times it is essential that the satellite antenna should point towards Earth. And in space, you cannot control that unless you have orbital dynamics and ACS control system in place. So these are all the subsystems, just a glimpse of it. In each subsystem, we have about 1 coordinator and 5 to 6 students working in each system. Structural and thermal is generally comes under the domain of mechanical engineering, production engineering, civil engineering, and material science and metallurgy. Power system comes under the control of electrical engineering. RF system and ground station segments come under the domain of electronics and telecommunication system. OC comes naturally from is controlled by computer engineering department. Orbital dynamics and ACS requires interdisciplinary knowledge of almost all fields, but primarily it requires physics and system integration. So we have every year about 35 student team working on the project. When a batch of student graduates, final year students will graduate every year, and therefore equivalent number of students are inducted into the system from first year and second year. They are trained by students and faculty over a period of about 2 to 3 months, and then they become ready to work as a part of the team. This is the timeline. Maintaining records, documents, and important milestones is absolutely essential, because a student's life on campus is only 4 years for engineering. For BSc, it is just 3 years. And if a project is not going to be completed within that 3-year, 4-year span, then you as a student are not going to see that your project has come alive in your tenure. And that's why it becomes very much essential that timestamp of each small module is maintained appropriately, so that at the end, when the project becomes successful, we can identify who did what. For example, in late 2008, the project was conceptualized, and actually it started in 2009. Initially, college was also not very confident how it will work out, when it will be completed. So we were given a period of 1 year and a small budget of 3.5 lakh rupees to come to a stage where this project can be presented to ISRO. So you will see that concept design review took place in 2010 in the month of June at ISRO. For that, a student team of about 20 students and me, we went to Bangalore. We stayed there for 2 days, and 2 full days, a team of about 15 ISRO scientists were really grilling us to find out how the project would go on, and they gave us very essential inputs how to begin the project. In 2011, Nishchay Mhatre, I showed you a picture of 3 students who initiated the project. The right one with long hair became first Indian to receive the Luigi Napolitano Award, which is presented every year by International Astronomical Congress, IAC. He became youngest presenter, and he received the award for a beautiful presentation on SWAYAM, of course. In 2010, we realized that for making a functional ground station, what are all the requirements? And the prime requirement which came up was we need to have at least 4 students who have cleared the IARU ham radio community exam. Students started working on it, and within 1 year, because 6 months is the course duration, within 1 year, instead of 4, we had about 12 students who had completed the IARU exam, and then we got our ham license. After the ham license, the work really accelerated on building a ground station. A ground station comes in 2 segments. One is the antenna, which receives and delivers the signals, and other is network analyzers and other instruments which actually decode the information packets received by the antenna. So for ground station segment, where to place the ground station is also very crucial, where electrical, electronics, interference, optics, all this knowledge is very important. There is a location in COEP at Metallurgy Terrace, which is affected least that location was chosen for ground station, and this ground station work completed in 2012, December 2012. After this, next important milestone is preliminary design review. In journey of a satellite making, preliminary design review is very crucial stage in the sense that once preliminary design review is cleared by an institute, ISRO makes a formal MOU with the institute that in next 2 years, if you build your satellite with these specifications, we will fly it on board appropriate mission for free. For all other students' missions also, other means outside India, they charge $10,000 per kg weight of the satellite. And for Indian students, it is free. Now, once the ground station segment became functional, International Space Station sends you an image, and at your ground station, you are supposed to decipher what is the image. We were sent an image of Yuri Gagarin, and successfully we could decipher the image, send it to ISS, and then they give you a certification that this is a functional ground station. After that, the PDR takes, preliminary design review takes place. And after that, in 2013, May 2013, COEP signed an MOU with ISRO for building passively stabilized student satellite. So the task was, in next 2 years, the satellite should be ready. But before you start building the satellite, first you have to build a qualification model which should undergo rigorous testing and make sure that whatever you build next, we will survive in space. Qualification model was ready in 2014, and on that, about 1.5 months, rigorous testing was conducted at ISAC Bangalore. After critical design review, you are not supposed to change any specification of the satellite, and so it's a critical stage where all your specification for satellites become fixed. In next 1 year, you are supposed to complete the satellite, and thanks to ISRO, all final flight model assembly is done at ISAC facility only, because they do not believe or rely upon your clean rooms established. We have 10,000 class clean room established at COEP since 2013, but the final flight model assembly needs to be done in ISAC campus only, so that it is done under their supervision and then kept in their satellite storage facility. Now, this was the timeline. Along the timeline, you have to define the success plan of your satellite as well. Success plan means if a particular stage happens, whether it will be preliminary success. That means developing an operational spacecraft and functional ground station was our preliminary defined success. In 2012, our ground station became ready. So this preliminary success was achieved. In 2014, our flight model became ready. So preliminary success was achieved even before the satellite flew into space. Partial success is receiving first beacon. Now for this, your satellite has to fly, antenna should snap out open, it should start functioning, and then our first signal would have received. That was partial success. What is qualifying success? When you can say that the satellite mission is successful, it was passive stabilization of the satellite. So if satellite stabilizes passively, it is a qualifying success. And if full uplink and downlink is established and digital and analog communication is established, then it is full success. And I'm very proud to tell you all that SWAYAM is first Indian student satellite mission which is end-to-end success. That means full success. Now coming to important parts. This is what I showed you as flight model. But when you explore this view, you will be able to see all the components which come under the domain of structure subsystem. It starts with these solar cells. These are the guide rails which hold the entire body in place. This orange thing is the antenna. At the launch, this antenna is bent and it is tied around the body. First function of the onboard computer is initiate a process to unsnap this, and so that the antenna can be placed in this particular orientation before the satellite starts revolving. This is power system. Power system constitutes a power PCB. This is the battery pack. This is the connection. It connects to all the solar panels. Panels will generate electricity through these wires. It will come and will be stored inside the battery. Here you will see 4 blue lithium-ion batteries are stored. They are storing the power and distributing the power to the entire satellite. This is onboard computer. We have seen small palm tops, but this particular onboard computer is as small as really only palm without fingers of your body, and it is controlling the entire satellite. It's very exciting. These are the communication antennas, and this is how attitude control is achieved. This is the passive attitude control. I'll come to that. This is the blue thing. Orbit is the orbit taken by SWAYAM satellite. Here at this cross section of white axis, a blue dot is seen, which is SWAYAM satellite, and the yellow cone is called as the communication cone. That means whenever satellite is at this location, it will be able to communicate in this send communication signal in this area. Here you will see that this is Indian western coastline, and here is COEP ground station. So at this location we'll be able to communicate with the satellite. Speed of satellite when it is revolving around the Earth is 11 revolutions per day. Can you imagine the speed? Out of these, 4 passes, 2 in the morning time and 2 in the night time, used to come exactly over COEP ground station, and in those 4 orbits, the 4 revolutions, we could communicate with the satellite for longer duration. In other orbitals, in other revolutions, other ground stations would be able to communicate with the satellite depending upon location of the satellite with reference to a terrestrial location. Now, coming to the PMAS, which is the specialty of SWAYAM satellite. PMACS is Passive Magnetic Attitude Control System. Whenever a satellite uses active control, it is achieved through power-thirsty electromagnets. These electromagnets require a lot of power, and we did not have that kind of power. Plus, it heats up to very high temperature, and in a small satellite of 10 centimeter length, breadth, height, or cube, let's say, near cube, there is no place for heat dissipation. That's why we cannot use active attitude control in case of small satellites. How to overcome it? Plus, we did not have a large budget to use active attitude control system. Here, our 8th-9th standard physics came handy. We all know that Earth itself is a strong magnet, and therefore, if along the axis of Earth's magnetic field, if we place a permanent magnet inside the satellite, then the satellite would orient itself towards Earth's magnetic field. And if this magnetic pull becomes too much, then stabilization will not be possible. That's why to damp excess magnetic field, there are hysteresis rod. Permanent magnet is in the direction of Earth's magnetic field, and exactly perpendicular to it, there are 4 hysteresis rods. So this will ensure that a particular orientation will always be maintained in the satellite, and if antenna, communication antenna, is kept parallel to this axis, automatically the antenna would orient itself towards Earth and communication will be enabled all the time. So this simple trick coming from physics, magnetics, helped, and without spending any power at all, with a very small amount of money for permanent magnets and hysteresis rods, we could achieve passive magnetic attitude control. This is how every time the satellite would orient itself if it is passively stabilized. So in northern hemisphere, always communication will be possible for COEP's ground station. That was the trick. This is the actual path, white orbit followed by SWAYAM satellite, and in second picture you will see the globe, and the white line shows the points from which COEP ground station, which falls close to COEP ground station. The part which is under shade is covered under communication in one pass. This is how satellite orbits around Earth. This is how communication takes place. This is ground station A. It sends a signal for ground station B. When satellite moves and come over ground station B, B has to initiate, ask whether there is any information packet, whether there is any communication packet left by anybody for me. Satellite will say, yes, there is a packet for you. Then it will send the packet. B ground station will send a signal back to the satellite, which is called as acknowledgement, and the communication is complete. Once again, we will see this. Satellite comes over ground station A, send message for B, initiated by A, acknowledgement is sent by Swayam. It moves on, goes to location B. Ground station B initiates the communication. Swayam delivers the packet. B gives the acknowledgement. This is how point-to-point communication is complete. In next orbit, when Swayam will come over ground station A, it will deliver the acknowledgement of giving the packet to B, which has been received through B. It is point-to-point communication completed, but it is half duplex communication. Means what? Either you can take signal or you can give signal at a particular time. You cannot do both. Students, if you have any time learned about voice messaging or a pager service, not a cell phone. These were communication devices before cell phone. Then you could get a written message or audio message, hear it, record your message and send it. This is exactly how half duplex communication works. If you have only one frequency being allotted to you, you can achieve half duplex communication. Communication will be complete. Only thing, simultaneously sending and receiving signal will not take place. First will be sending, then will be receiving. This is the difference in half duplex and full duplex communication. Currently, we are working on a project on another satellite, which will be using full duplex communication. So now we have UHF, VHF, though both the antennas, two different frequencies, one for sending signal, other for receiving signal. So this is how complete or full duplex communication happens. This is satellite weighing only 990 grams. The dimensions are 1U, 100 by 100 by 113.5 mm, and see the tolerance is only 0.1 mm allowed. Mass 990 grams. This is structure, and this structure finally was finalized when we started in 2012. This was the original structural skeleton. But as you can see, this structural skeleton looks very bulky. The total weight was to be kept less than 1 kg, and therefore this structure was a fail. You learn from your mistakes and move on. But still, we have preserved this structure. It weighs around 600 grams. In a 1 kilogram satellite, you cannot afford to have a support structure, and that's why I want to show you this structural skeleton is whenever you fix that your total satellite should be less than 1 kg, you do a mass budgeting. How much is maximum allowable weight of each component realistically, you have to consider what will be the minimum and maximum weight possible. So we scrapped this idea and used only the guardrails, these things, and side. This entire thing was done without the top and the bottom. PCB backs themselves acted as body of the satellite. This is our 10,000 class clean room. Students are working on assembly. They have to wear special type of wear, use and work on anti-static tables, use special kind of slippers, and there should not be hairs everywhere. That's why they have to wear the headgear also. So way beyond Corona, our students were using PPE kits for working on assembly of the satellite. And mind well that they had to clean, sweep, swab the clean room by themselves, because all support staff, peons and all, will not understand the importance of being dust free. That's why the entire maintenance for last 10 years of this facility is done by students themselves. This is really creditable. This is satellite coming through different stages. These are the guardrails. Structure has just begun. These are 4 power batteries. They are being assembled. These are those 4 batteries. One is power PCB, one is communication PCB, one is onboard computer. This is onboard computer. They are assembled, and now the satellite is ready for packing. After the satellite is ready, it has to undergo rigorous testing, and most important is vibration testing. Why? Because on Earth we experience 1g gravity, but satellite in space vehicle, and when it is being thrown out of the space vehicle, PSLV C-34 in this case, it experiences 9g, 9 times the gravity, and all the components which are packed inside this small space should be so efficiently packed that they will not move, vibrate, come loose under this. That's why the entire assembly is kept in this vibration chamber, and in all 360 degrees the tumbling is done, carried out, to find out what happens to the satellite after it is moving into space. Similarly, thermo-vacuum profiling. In space, there is near vacuum, and temperature varies on sun side to about 54 degrees, and in eclipse side, minus 40 degrees Celsius. So whether your assembly will be stable from minus 50 to plus 50 temperature range is checked in thermo-vacuum profiling. It is 180 hours test. That means you subject your satellite to vacuum plus varying temperatures, constantly heat and cool for 180 hours, and then see whether all the components are working perfectly or not. This is line of sight testing. I told you that we have our ground station on the terrace of metallurgy. This is COEP metallurgy terrace on the right. In between you can see Pune city. From Pune ground station, 3.69 kilometers away is famous Parvati Tekadi. Students went to that Parvati Tekadi and this is our communication device placed there. End-to-end signal testing was done. One assembly at Metallurgy Top Terrace, another at Parvati, and seamless communication could be demonstrated. Similar exercise was done at COEP ground station and Sinhagad also, which is about 30-40 kilometers away. So after these two things, our functional ground station became ready. This is evolution of ground station. This is actual video, which may not work right now, of the takeoff, but I'll show you and tell the story. This is Sriharikota VIP Viewers Gallery. Very beautiful building. From here, from this part, we can see the PSLV vehicle. This is the vehicle. This is just the model. Actual vehicle is here. The distance between this building and the launch pad is 9 kilometers. And in that 9-kilometer radius, no human being can be when the actual launch takes place. Outside Shar, they have made this model and we could stand before it. This is me, this is Director COEP. He is Dhaval Wagulde, who was project manager when the satellite took off. He is Abdul Hussain Songarwala and this is Saurabh Barve. They were admin in charge. This is the actual launch pad, and this is from that 9-kilometer distance, this viewing gallery where actually the vehicle took off. At COEP auditorium, we had invited all the students who worked on it and had a live telecast of the launch. These are the locations where COEP ground station communication devices were already given. And a student satellite success is ensured when at least 10 ground stations you can communicate with. And we could communicate with 3 in South America, 1 in North America. Most of them are in Europe because in Europe, the amateur ham community and students community is very active. This is COEP ground station, this is Chandigarh, and this is near Shar, and of course with ISRO. 2 in Japan where IRU is located and 1 in Australia. So in all these locations which are in blue, we had given our communication systems and they could receive signals from SWAYAM. That proved that it is a end-to-end success satellite. This is the team, one of the teams I should say. In all, in those 8-9 years span, total 176 students worked on the project, and this is, I think, batch of 15. After the successful launch, we got to meet Prime Minister Modi ji, and this is the student team. And this is our current mission, which is solar sailing. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And I think exactly at .12, I have finished my talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspirational talk. Now, let us take up the questions from the participants.
Sure.
What is meant by, the first question is, what is meant by flat disk transmitter and what are its uses? What, can I repeat it again?
Yeah.
What is meant by flat disk transmitter and what are its uses?
See, flat disk transmitter. In ground station segments, you need to have antennas for sending the signals and receiving the signals. They are in different shapes and sizes. For VHF antenna, you can use the flat plate antenna for receiving the signals.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Second question.
Huh.
To minimize the hysteresis loss, what was the core material used in the satellite?
Hysteresis loss, I think HYMU60 is the alloy which is used in hysteresis rods.
Is it ferromagnetic or ferrimagnetic, ma'am?
Ferrimagnetic.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Next question is there any limit, extreme limits for devising extreme limits for mass in devising a picosatellite?
Yes, 1 kg is the maximum weight allowed for 1U satellite.
And
30
how
kg is the weight for 3U satellite. Depending upon your mission, your dimensions as well as the weight gets fixed.
Okay, ma'am. Next question is
cubic centimeters is the volume allowed for 1U.
Okay, ma'am. Next question is what is SWAYAM team doing currently?
We are working on 2 projects. One is a full-fledged satellite, which will demonstrate solar sailing. The kite-like thing which I showed in the last slide is used to maneuver the satellite into space from one height to other height. SWAYAM used to orbit in one particular height, 515 kilometers was the set orbit in which SWAYAM was revolving. This particular satellite will be launched at 750 kilometers or 800 kilometers, and in 6 months' time, daily, it will sail about 2 to 2.5 kilometers away from Earth's surface, and at the end of 6 months, it is supposed to reach a height of 1,000 kilometers plus, and then next 6 months, it will be deorbited, and it will travel back towards Earth with the larger speed.
Okay, ma'am. Next question is what is SWAYAM team doing currently?
See, SWAYAM team changes every year. All the students who had worked till 2016 have passed out. They have completed their MS. Some are doing PhD in different universities. From our first batch, Abhishek, Mohit, and all that, they are married, settled down, working nicely. Most of them are in USA. 1 or 2, I think, have turned into teaching. Nishchay Mhatre is doing PhD in India. So we are all very well connected and we know what they are doing. Right now, the team which is working will be working on 2 projects. One is that solar sailing project, and the other is PS4OP is another opportunity which is floated by ISRO, that if you want to conduct a 3 to 4 month scientific experiment on their platform at a particular height. So we are working on that project also. Worldwide, they had asked for projects and 20 project proposals were there. From that, 7 projects proposals are accepted and we are one of them.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks. Next, again, one more question, ma'am. This is the last question probably. Okay. How do you manage to select the students every year for this mission?
Array, we have a fantastic 4-layer arrangement for that. On day 1, we run a small video for students and how one has to work in CSAT team is told, because it is a very rigorous activity. Daily, other than academic, students are working at least 3 to 4 hours. In all vacations, they are not allowed to go home. They are on the campus. We keep hostel on. We keep one mess on for them, but they work here, and 8 to 9 hours per day they work on the project. We take care of all Bangalore visits, wherever they want to go. Their food, travel, everything is provided by college. But to get selected to that, there is a rigorous process. First, a questionnaire is given. They have to solve the questionnaire. It is an open book exam. Next is a small project which will take about writing an algorithm, making a prototype, some such thing. 15 days time is given after shortlisting from the written exam. Then there are personal interviews, and after the personal interviews we select for any year, for any induction, not more than 10 students from first year. They are given complete tour of all subsystems, how they are working, and they can choose their subsystem to work. So this is our four-layered arrangement to select student, because these students have to be really committed to the task. Then only they will willingly work all holidays.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now let me summarize the lecture in one line because there are some time constraints. Grit, determination, and commitment of students under the able guidance of an experienced teacher can lead to such great success stories. So my appeal to the student participants gathered here is think differently, come out with new ideas, believe in yourself and in your teamwork. Teachers are always there to nurture your ideas, guide you, and lead you towards the path of success. With this note, I am now going to officially propose the vote of thanks. First, I really, on behalf of organizing committee, uh, thank Dr. Khalatkar Madam to accept our invitation despite her hectic schedule and sparing valuable time to deliver an inspirational talk. I extend my sincere thanks to the president of today's function, our Honorable Principal Dr. A.S. Khemnar Sir, for his constant support and encouragement. Due to some technical problems, or he is having some health problems, that's why he could not attend this meeting. My thanks are also due to the young and dynamic head of the department and also the convener of today's seminar. I acknowledge my gratitude to the Faculty of Physics Department. Last but not the least, thanks are due to all the respected delegates from different parts of India, student participants, and other teachers present for this occasion. Thank you, one and all. Now I'm handing over the dais to Sumant for further announcements. Sumant.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for chairing this session. Now, I hand over the session to Anup to make everyone familiar with Astromitra.
Okay, thank you so much. Just I'm sharing my screen.
With your permission, can I leave?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. No, no problem. Yes.
Okay, friends. So Astromitra, we are associating with Rajaram College Kolhapur for this 3 days session, webinar sessions. So the Astromitra is a Astro club started. So we are the students of Rajaram College are forming this club and would like to invite all the different parts of the college's students to join our community. We have formed this group to the space enthusiasts, those who are interested in astronomy. Not they are going to pursue their careers in astronomy and astrophysics, but they simply have a passion about astronomy, some interest about astronomy and constellations. So we have formed this group to encourage those students, those space enthusiasts, to encourage their knowledge, to share their views also and knowledge in our group. So just about us, our vision to motivate space and physics enthusiasts, the platform forms on which the enthusiasts could able to discuss and share their knowledge about the space and physics. So it's open talk sessions on a WhatsApp group and the different sessions there where you can share your astronomical knowledges, share your PDFs, your knowledge to us. So there is always a discussion forum is always open for all. So we will take you to in a fascinating world of astronomy to make you understand the different concepts of astronomy and astrophysics in simple English and Marathi language too. So our prime target is to explain the space enthusiast in a simple language in English and also in our Marathi, such that we could able to capture our own region, our Maharashtra, where we can pick up some the space enthusiasts, some astrophysics lovers who are going to pursue their career in the astronomy and astrophysics. So our mission to engage and create the community of a space enthusiast, to establish a strong bond between the knowledge and imagination, to keep you updated with the regular Instagram posts, stories, and also with the blogs. So we are having an Instagram account where we constantly post the different types of posts like space exploration, space missions, our daily events which are going happening in our in day-to-day life. Like today we are having a solar eclipse. It is going to watched in Canada and Alaska. So we are going to update you with that in a simple language in Marathi also. So fields you can explore by joining our community is cosmology, astrophysics, astronomy, space exploration, and theories of universe. So we are going to introduce you with the cosmology, astronomy, astrophysics in a very simple way by some discussion forums. So activities we are going to perform is webinar by the renowned speakers like we have done today. We are having a 3 days webinar series. So we are going in future we are having a plans to organize such beautiful webinars by our renowned speakers to you by introducing some space activities, by some updates about the space universes where you can ask your questions and have the discussion forum. We are also going to perform some workshops in upcoming future. I think we will be starting on from July. Like we are going to perform some workshops like softwares, observations. If some events are going to happen in Indian time zone, then we are going to give you a live observations where some students who weren't able to see or watch due to some weather climates, or I think that latitude will be not that exactly there where we can see that exact things. So coding in field of research, some might always know some codings like Python, C, C++. So it's quite required in upcoming research fields because it is quite going to get mandatory in upcoming future. So we are going to just consider some workshops like this in upcoming future. We are going to give you the Instagram live sessions. We are all the events we are going to give on Instagram live sessions. Basic experiments you can do it at home, which you can perform in your home, like physics and astronomical tools you can prepare at your homes. We are going to create a YouTube videos series in which we are going to update you with some astronomical things, astrophysics things, videos, and also some audio debate sessions. We are having two platforms on which we are going to create an audio debate session where it is open to all. Just you have to join our community. These are some links given, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Telegram. You have to join our community just for that and be part of our community to share your knowledge and also gain some knowledge about the astronomy and astrophysics in a basic ways. So thank you so much. Stay curious.
Okay, thank you, Anup. Okay, I would like to thank everyone for attending today's session with immense exultation. For next sessions, we will be meeting tomorrow, that is 12th of this month, and also on 14th of this month. I repeat, 12th and 14th of this month at the same timings, that is at 11 a.m. with the same link. Those who have not registered themselves for the sessions can register through the same link that has been provided to you and for attending the next sessions. Okay. So I declare that the today's meeting is over and you all can leave the meeting. Thank you and good day to all.
Thank you, Suman.